Hey guys, it's Mega Robert from MegaRobertTV, and today I'm going to review issue 49 of Mega Man. So, this issue starts out from the point of view of one of the Robot Masters being reactivated by Mega Man, and we soon learn that this Robot Master that's being woken up is Quick Man, and he's not happy to see Mega Man at all. So he jumps out of the way and punches at Mega Man, but Mega Man jumps back and he doesn't get hit, and Quick Man soon realizes that none of his weapons are working at this point, and he gets really angry and he goes to attack Mega Man again with his full force, but Woodman jumps in the way and stops Quick Man. He's like, no, brother, Mega Man has just saved us. And Quick Man's like, what do you mean us? And Woodman goes, he saved all of us. And then we go into this huge spreadsheet shot where we see all the Mega Man 2 Robot Masters and the Mega Man 3 Robot Masters all completely rebuilt by Mega Man and Dr. Light. So Quick Man is just kind of in this moment of awe where he doesn't understand how all his brothers can be alive after Mega Man destroyed them. Mega Man comes forward and he starts talking about how he kept his promise to all the Robot Masters before he destroyed them, that he would one day rebuild them all so that they can come back and live their lives once again. So Quick Man, he's in this moment of just more awe and happiness about how he's alive and everything, but then he stops and he asks Mega Man, but wait, what happened to Dr. Wily? And Mega Man, he looks down and he goes, Dr. Wily died in our last fight. And everyone just kind of stops and looks at him, and as that happens, we change scenes to where Dr. Wily is now, because as we know from last issue, Dr. Wily isn't dead. So Dr. Wily is on this kind of old hospital bed that doesn't look really clean, and he's surrounded by all this robotic technology that he doesn't know. So Dr. Wily kind of wakes up on this small hospital bed that's not really clean or organized, and he's in this dark room. He has no idea where he is, but out of nowhere this man comes named Mr. X, and he starts talking to Dr. Wily about how even though, you know, he's a little dizzy right now after they fixed his broken bones, he needs to get up right now to talk to Mr. X about the plans for the future. And Dr. Wily, of course, he's super tired. He could care less right now. He's like, no way am I getting up. And then Mr. X, in a very cool and calm fashion, goes, okay, you know, you can either come peacefully in crutches with me right now, or we can take you down the hall in a wheelchair by force, you know, whatever's good with you. And Dr. Wily, realizing that this is the ultimate threat that he could have right now, is just like, okay, I'll take the crutches, it's cool. So Dr. Wily gets in his crutches, he starts walking with Mr. X, and Mr. X starts talking kind of similarly to another character we know about how he's seen the future, and he knows that in the future robotics will destroy the world, but he needs that to happen in order for him to come back and give his message to the present day people. And of course Dr. Wily has no idea what's going on. He's just kind of walking in his crutches thinking that this guy's a complete mess. You know, this guy's talking crazy. But then Dr. Wily ends up in this small laboratory where he's looking around and there's these brand new robot pieces. And Mr. X goes, all right, Dr. Wily, time to get back to work. It's time for you to build more Robot Masters. So that was a really cool scene, and we don't, as of right now, we don't know who Mr. X technically is, but I do have my suspicions on who he is, but I'll talk about that after I finish the issue. So after that happens, we jump back to Light Labs, where Mega Man and all the Robot Masters are talking about their new functions in society and what they can do. And I think the scene starts out where Bubble Man is talking to Roll, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm Bubble Man, I do nothing useful. And Roll's like, well, you could watch over the oceans. And he's like, wait, is that a respected position? Is that really gonna be great? And she's like, yeah, and Bubble Man's super happy, and it's all great. But then, of course, the party pooper that has to come in is Quick Man, and he's like, wait a second, how are we supposed to work in society if we're weapons right now? And Mega Man is like, well, we'll just, you know, fix your coding and you don't have to be weapons anymore. And Quick Man gets angry. He's like, if you fix my coding, you're gonna fix me, and then you're gonna change who I am completely, and I'm not gonna let you do that. And Mega Man is like, no, it's not like that. We're just gonna change your coding, that's it. And Quick Man's like, well, you remember when Dr. Wily changed your coding, right? And turned you into a weapon, were you okay with that? Was that perfectly fine with you? No, it wasn't. So it's the same thing for me. And then Mega Man realizes what happened back in the Mega Man 2 arc when he was turned into a weapon for Dr. Wily, and that was one of his most dark moments, and he doesn't enjoy remembering that, but he does kind of understand that it's sort of the same thing for Quick Man at this point. But before Mega Man can talk again, Dr. Light jumps in the mix, and he goes, all right, Quick Man, if you don't want to help society, that's fine, but your rebuilding did come at a price. If you don't want to help society, then we're going to shut you down one more time. And it's a really dramatic moment, because usually Thomas Light is kind of this very calm character who's cool and collected, but as we've seen over the last couple of issues, he's kind of at his wit's end with Dr. Wily and his Robot Master. So Quick Man is like, you know what, fine, shut me down, I could care less. If I'm not the real Quick Man, then what's the point of being Quick Man? And as he says that, a couple more Robot Masters come up, like Heat Man and Gemini Man and Top Man, and they're like, you know what, we're kind of useless too in society. We don't want to be just completely dumb weapons that no one's gonna use anymore. We just want to be who we are. So if we can't, then you might as well just shut us down too. So now there's a little group of Robot Masters who would rather die than actually help the world and be good citizens. So Mega Man just starts crying at this point, and he's like, no, I saved your IC chips. I did all of this so that you could be rebuilt and live a better life. Why would you want to just go and kill yourselves? And Quick Man's like, to be the real Quick Man is who I want to be. If I can't be the real Quick Man, then that's the real problem. And as he says that, Dr. Light comes behind him, grabs his IC chip, and pulls it out, and Quick Man gets shut down and falls over. And at this point, Mega Man is just bawling over. He's just completely sad, crying his eyes out, and Dr. Light hugs him, and he's like, I'm so sorry, my boy, but the one thing you should realize is that not everybody wants to be saved. And that's kind of the big lesson for this issue. I think it was really well explained, and I definitely think that unlike some of the past morals that we saw in Mega Man 3, this one is very relevant to both the Mega Man universe and just kind of other stories in general. So I really liked it. So after that happens, we go to the final page of this issue, which I think is one of the most interesting, where Dr. Wily is all in his lab coat again with Mr. X, and Mr. X is like, all right, Dr. Wily, are you ready to build more Robot Masters on your next mission? And he's like, yeah, definitely. But in the back of Dr. Wily's mind, he's starting to think to himself, wait a second, if I build more Robot Masters, I could overthrow Mr. X and control the entire industry. So he starts to get excited, but then Mr. X is like, all right, Dr. Wily, before you get too excited, let me introduce you to your new partner who's going to be working with you from now on. And then Dr. Wily turns around and a Genesis portal opens up where Sigma comes out and grabs Dr. Wily from the back of his lab coat and starts dragging him into the portal. And Dr. Wily reaches out and he's like, no, somebody please help me. And he does that, and that's the last panel of the issue. So it was super epic. This totally sets up for Worlds Unite, because that is the next story arc that's coming out soon, and I'm so excited for the next Sonic Mega Man crossover, which is coming right around the corner. It's going to be up in a couple days. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah, guys, that's really it for this issue. I'm trying to think. Oh, I did promise that I would talk about the identity of Mr. X. So we don't know who Mr. X is, but if I had to guess, I think Mr. X is Xander Payne from Mega Man. And the reason I think that is because he talks a lot about how robotics will destroy the future, and how he's seen the future and seen the past, and he knows what's going to happen. And that's something that Xander Payne saw, but he never talked about. So what I think is that Mr. X is Xander Payne from the future, and that he's coming back now to kind of set up the events of Worlds Unite. So I'm not sure how that works out timeline-wise, but story-wise, it sounds super awesome. So I'm super excited for that. Yeah, guys, question of the day. What do you think about issue 49? And are you ready for Worlds Unite coming up pretty soon? So, yeah, guys, this is Mega Robert signing off.